Hi everyone, Janie here, and with Christmas quickly approaching, I thought what a better time to share a tutorial on making a gift bag. And so we're going to head on over to the craft table and we are going to get started
The
on
gift
that.
bags that I'm going to show you how to make can be used for birthdays, for Christmas, or for any occasion that you want. And they are 6 inches tall by 4.5 inches wide by 2 inches deep. So they're really nice size, they're nice and roomy, and they have little handles on them, and you can fold them and close them at the top if you want, or you can put tissue paper in them. There are so many possibilities, and you don't have to, do any elaborate decorating if you don't want. If you're using some pretty paper, it would look nice just the way it is, or a really pretty label on here would look nice. And this right here, let me see if I can get a nice close-up of it. I really love this die set. If you were following Crafters Castle's design team back in October, we actually used that die set a few times, and it's from Memory Box. And so there are these 4 dies, and I used all 4 of them in making that. And I will put links below in the description box so that you can find these. And another thing I'm going to tell you about is that there is definitely a front and a back to these bags. And the front is going to be the smooth side with no seams. And the back is going to have seams. And I made a mistake and I decorated the back of the bag instead of the front of the bag. So I'll try to remember to tell you about that while I'm showing you how to make the bag. You're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock or scrapbook paper. If it's cardstock, try to use something lightweight instead of, I wouldn't use 110-pound cardstock, probably 65-pound. And you're going to need it to be 9.5 inches by 8.5 inches. And I wrote that on there just to make it easier for you to see, because the sizes are so close together, they're only an inch apart. So I wouldn't write that on there though if you're doing your own. But you can use printed cardstock, solid color cardstock, or paper, whichever you prefer. And the first thing we're going to do is, with the 8.5 inches going across here, we're going to score this at 1 inch and 2 inches. And then we're going to come over and score this at 6.5 and 7.5. And not to confuse you, but you also could have just done 1 inch and 2 inch and turned it around and did 1 inch and 2 inch, because basically it's 1 inch and 2 inch from each side. So we're going to do that to both of these, and I'll just do this off camera, but we will be doing the same thing to both. So on this one we have 9.5 inches going across, and we are going to score this at 1.5 inches and at 7.5 inches. So this one is 2 inches from this edge, and this is 1.5 inches from this edge. Now I'm going to go score the other one, and I'll be right back. Both pieces have been scored, and as you can see, I wrote cut and remove on each of these edges, and it's just this rectangle right here. We're not cutting anything down here or up here, and we're only doing this on the one. So I'm going to cut the one so you can see it. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Oops. Just a little piece right there. Okay. so that it looks like that. All right, so we still have the score marks up here. Just that centerpiece came out. We're going to do the same thing on this side. And that's what it's going to look like. Now we're going to find the bottom. The bottom is the one with 2 inch from the score mark. So that's 2 inches. This up here is 1.5 inches. This is 2 inches. So on the bottom, we're going to come in and we're going to cut on this score line right here. So there's one score line. We're going to cut the next one over and cut it right up to that score line. And we're going to do the same thing on this side, just like that. Fold those up so they look like that. And then we're going to fold the score line right there. And these are going to fold in like that. So these are the flaps that we just cut. They are going to fold in and get attached. And actually, make sure you've got that folded up. On this one, they are actually going to go on the outside, not the inside. So we're not going to put them on the inside. We're putting them on the outside. Just like that. So I'm going to glue those together. And then I will be right back. Now that this is glued together, we're going to set it aside. And again, we're taking the other piece with the 2 inch part at the bottom and the 1.5 inch part at the top. So this is 2 inches. And we are going to cut right along the same lines that we cut on before that we made the little flaps with. Okay. And we're going to fold those up and fold that up. And this time we are going to flip them over and hook it on the inside, not the outside, but the inside this time. And I will show you why. And also, might be a good time to fold on your score lines there. Okay? And you can fold your other score lines if you want. Or you can fold those later. But right now, I just wanted those folded so that this will come in nicely. So let me glue that together. Okay, now I'm going to show you why we put these on the bottom and these on the inside. And it is because this is going to go over the top. And when it does, it will leave a nice smooth bottom with no seams. You won't see that on the bottom. And the same thing for the inside, is that the inside will be smooth. So you won't have any of these little seams showing on the inside or the outside. So now the next step is you're going to put glue all along this. Now, I prefer to use a wet glue because I want to be able to slide it. Whatever adhesive you want to use is up to you, but like I said, wet glue allows me to slide things around. So, here we go. Okay, just lay it on its back so you're not getting glue on anything. And I'm trying to rub it off my fingers over here. And now you're going to take the top piece or the front piece and you're going to slide it on right over that. You're going to make sure that everything matches up. Make sure that your sides match up. Get everything adhered together nicely. Whoops, my finger slid. Okay, now it's not going to matter. Let me see if I can show you this. You'll see that one piece is sticking up higher than the other. That is not going to matter at all. Okay, so now that you have this all put together, on the top, in each of these corners, you're going to take your scissors. Whoops. You're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut it down to the score line. Let me get up here. See the score line? That's as far as you're cutting it. And you're going to do that on all four corners, just to that score line. Whoops. Okay. Just to the score line. Okay. And then to make it easier to fold in, I like to cut the corners at an angle, or cut these flaps. I think it's called mitering. I am not that bright when it comes to these words. Okay, but you're just going to cut out a little piece just like that. So just come in at a slight angle and cut that off so that it looks like this. Okay, we're going to do that on both ends. And again, we're just going to that corner, just to the score line. Okay, so fold those end flaps in that we just cut. Fold them all the way in so that you have them folded in good. And then you're going to open it back up again and you're going to put some glue on that. And fold it back in again. You fold it in the first time just so that you get a really good crease. And of course we're going to have to wait for those to dry, but it dries pretty quick. So now we're going to fold these to make sure that we have a really good fold on that. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add some glue. And as you can see, even if you did write on here like I did, on these flaps that have the, wow, get in the camera, girl, where I had written the dimensions, not going to show anyway. So if you do feel the need to write on there, just be sure that those are the sides that you are folding in and not folding, you know, not having on the outside. Okay, so there we go. It's all folded together. And I'm going to give this a minute to dry, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now it looks like a box. It looks a lot like a luminary that I made a while back. Okay, but you have these score lines on the sides. So bend it in like this. Start on the top and bend it in. And I say start on the top because that's where your little corners are up here that you can pinch together. And then just work your way down and keep pinching. And you don't go all the way down to the bottom. You just go part way down, just like this. And oh my goodness, there's one of my dogs barking in the background. Okay, so there's the bag. And now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to poke some holes in it for the ribbon. Or you could use ribbon, you can use twine. There's all kinds of options that you can use. And so we are going to be poking a hole. Now, I happen to have a hole punch that does smaller holes, and that's kind of the best. If you have a hole punch, if you have a crocodile, or you can just take a pokey tool and poke the holes. It's completely up to you. And I just eyeball it. So I'm going about right there and about right there. Doing the same thing on the other side. And you just kind of, like I said, I eyeball it. And now I have my little holes. And I suggest using about 12 inches of ribbon or 12 inches of twine. And to get it through the hole, I just kind of pinch it a little bit. And I'm using, this is actually 3/8 inch ribbon. I normally use a 1/4 inch ribbon. I also normally use ribbon that is solid color, but I grabbed this, so it'll have to do. Pull it through and make a knot. You can do a double knot if you want. I just do single knots and they work just fine. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Pull it through. Doesn't matter how far you pull it through. I keep going off camera and I'm sorry. I think it's the angle that I have my little camera at. There we go. That's probably a little bit better. Yeah, maybe not. Okay. Anyways, and again, just tie a knot. Of course, for some of you, it's easier than it is for me, obviously. Okay. And there you go. So you do the same thing on both sides, and you will have a cute little gift bag. And you can decorate it any way you want. You can even seriously go shabby chic with something like this. Put lots of flowers and lace and pearls. Or you can make it masculine for a guy. That would be a great time to use that twine instead of ribbon. And you can do it for a child. It's big enough for a small gift. It's actually bigger than what you would normally use for a gift card. So, you know, keep that in mind. And my ribbon twisted. Hold on a second here. Okay. Anyways, but yeah, you can use this, you know, like, oh gosh, a wallet would fit in here. A box, you know, with a piece of jewelry in it would fit in here. All kinds of nice little small gifts would fit. But there's your gift bag. And look at that. I did that one backwards. Well, I guess that's a good reason to use just a solid color ribbon and not something with writing on one side. And, oh, I was supposed to remind you. Remember when you're decorating this, that there is the back side where you could see the edges, and there is the front side, which is completely smooth. This is the side that you want to decorate. Don't make my mistake, but if you do, I'm sure it will be great anyway.
Just remember, the decorating possibilities for these are endless. They are great for guys, girls, and kids, and any occasion, not just Christmas. Thank you all for watching, and I hope I made that easy enough to follow, and I hope that you enjoy making those. And if you would like the link to the memory box die that I used, there are going to be links below in the description box to everything that you're going to need. Happy crafting, everyone. Bye-bye.